Okay, I knew after Foo Fighters I would eventually get around to this, and here we are. What are my thoughts on Nirvana's debut album, Bleach? What's going on, ladies and gents in Cyberland? Coming back to you with another album review, and this time we're on to a grunge band. People like to say this band started grunge. I disagree. I just feel this and the four others of that time is why we ended up having grunge music in the 90s. Nirvana's Bleach. So, I had already heard Nevermind and Utero. And Utero actually was the first Nirvana album I heard. But I had already heard those two albums, and for the longest I knew that those were not the first, that was the third and the second album, and there was a first album called Bleach. And I just, I didn't feel the need to get around to it. I just didn't. I was never one to really listen to it, and I did from time to time, but I just never really sat down and thought too much about it. And now, when I'm giving this review, I think I know why. It's a good introduction to the band. It's a good introduction to the lyricism of Kurt and the playing musicianship of Kurt and Christ. I think it's Christ or Christ. I know how to say his last name, Nosvalak, but I feel that as I listen to this album, and I listen to Nevermind and Utero, I think what made Nirvana was Christ, Kurt, and Dave. Some people may disagree with me on that, or I'm sure there's a lot of people that will disagree, but I think that as much credit as Dave likes to give to Kurt and what Nirvana was and what they were able to achieve, and also what followed after them in the 90s and moving forward in rock music, how they changed the landscape of how music could be done. I think that would not have been possible without Dave Grohl. Is Dave the greatest songwriter? No. Is Dave a good songwriter? Yes. He's a great songwriter at times? Yes, I think he is. I think, and I wouldn't say, well, let's compare Kurt with Dave's music. I couldn't do that. I don't think that's a fair assessment, because if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick Dave over Kurt, only because Dave has had how many albums? And Kurt has had how many albums? And then you also got to factor in what Dave mostly talks about as opposed to what Kurt mostly talks about. Now, the groundbreaking part, yes, Nirvana is groundbreaking. Foo Fighters is, I felt like, a continuation of where Nirvana ended. Even though Foo Fighters is its own beast, it's its own thing. But a lot of those elements of Nirvana ended up becoming Foo Fighters, and there's elements of Nirvana in Foo Fighters. And that's kind of expected because Dave Grohl was in both bands. With this album, and I say all that because I'm going to get to the point of this album. It's very prevalent to me that this album that's what this album lacks. It lacks Dave Grohl. And you can say, well, how so? I'm like, well, I don't think, when I look at Foo Fighters and I look at Nevermind and Euro and Incesticide, maybe not every single track, but I think Dave definitely had a huge contribution to the way the lyrics ended up, the way the music ended up, the way the whole overall format of the songs ended up when he was on it. Does that mean Dave told Kurt to change this lyric? No. But I do think when those three guys were in a room, the type of music that was brought out ended up being what they're known for. You get what I'm saying? Because with Bleach, these songs are not bad. They're just okay, they're fine. They're not, like, I'm not going to diss this album and say it's shit, because it's not. I give it a 7 out of 10. I just can tell that I think Dave, being in the band, brought out more in Kurt when it came to being a songwriter than he did when he wasn't there. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I could be full of shit. People could be wrong. And that's okay if I'm wrong. I just think, I really wholeheartedly believe that Dave, when Dave was in the room with Kurt and Christ, I believe that he brought out something in them to make a better record. And it's not really because of Foo Fighters. It's just when you listen to Nevermind and you listen to Euro, they're in a whole nother realm than Bleach. And I'm not saying because of the sound. I'm saying just there's a huge contrast between the Bleach and Nevermind. Whereas Nevermind and Euro, you can see elements of the two kind of intertwine with each other. But it's almost like Nevermind and Euro are the successful kids. Like, they're the ones that went to high school, stayed out of trouble, went to college, made something of themselves. And Bleach is the one where it's like, didn't do the same thing. Got into trouble, got into some shit, never even got into high school, the grades were shit, and just has kind of been lackluster just going through life, while Nevermind and Euro are kind of continuing to try different things, try to better themselves, and Bleach is just kind of like, I'll just go through the motions for the hell of it, I don't care. Now, I know, it just comes off like, it just comes off like that to me. I don't know. I don't think the songs are bad, but they're not memorable to me, I guess you could say. I think that the strongest song on here was About a Girl. My top 5 tracks are About a Girl, Big Cheese, School, Mr. Moustache, and Negative Creep. And I think Negative Creep, too, has elements of what could be Nevermind. But when I do listen to this, I don't really feel like anything from this album ended up becoming what Nevermind became. I just feel like when Dave came in, and especially with Butch Vig producing it, I just felt like, I don't know. It just comes off like whatever was done before, none of that is being brought into the studio for this album. I don't know. It just came off like that. And again, I could be totally wrong. It just feels that way. To this day, when I listen to In Your Roar, I listen to Nevermind, I really just wholeheartedly believe that Dave's presence and whatever is the way he drummed, the way he played, I just think that had a huge part in how those two albums sounded as compared to Bleach. So I would say if you listen to Nevermind, which most people haven't in Your Roar, I would say if you never heard Bleach, just check it out. You might like it more than me. That's fine, You might like it less. You may not like it at all. I would just say, I look at Bleach as kind of like a step down memory lane of what Nirvana was before Dave came into the band, and how drastically things changed from Bleach to Nevermind. I guess that's the best way I would put it. So, that being said, let's cue the music.